Very good morning, and firstly, a very warm welcome to our Business Showcase interviews. My name is Ron Maycock. I'm the owner of Action Coach Castleford and Business Performance UK, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Jonathan Postle, who is a commercial broker at the Commercial Finance Partnership. Very good morning to you, Jonathan.
Good morning.
Very good morning, and we'll be hearing a lot more from Jonathan in just a few moments. Before we do that, I just wanted to explain what the purpose of these interviews actually is. So we're surrounded by some amazing businesses in this region, and they've each got their own stories to tell. And these interviews help us share their journeys, showcase their achievements, and ultimately maximize their exposure, all in the name of abundance. And this is for the benefit of businesses across the UK. The more is more, and it's always good to share those journeys. So without further ado, Jonathan, tell me a little bit more about the Commercial Finance Partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. So Commercial Finance Partnership has grown to become the largest brokerage in Yorkshire, but also enables us to deal with businesses across the UK. So essentially, we are a full-service whole-of-market brokerage, looking at business finance, property finance, and also asset finance as well. Our lending panel consists of the high street banks, the leading alternative lenders. We want to make sure that we've got as much coverage as possible for all of the clients that we're dealing with. Based out of Ilkley and Doncaster, but we have brokers across the north of England as well within a Commercial Finance Partnership. Fully authorised and regulated by the FCA. We're members of the NACFB as well, which is a national body that essentially looks after brokers across the country. So for us, we want to make sure that we're well placed to help businesses in the region, as I say, further afield as well. And having access to the leading lenders within the industry massively helps us do that.
And are you entirely secured, or do you do unsecured as well, or what kind of product range do you have?
Yeah, so we have a wide range of products. So within the business lending side, we'll do a lot of secured lending, unsecured as well. We have routes to invoice finance, merchant cash advances. It's a real wide range. Within the property side, we do a lot of commercial investment, buy-to-let finance, holiday-let finance, and then asset finance. It could be anything from the usual heavy machinery that you'd expect in manufacturing, all the way through to vehicles as well. So it could be fleet vehicles, it could be supercars for directors or business owners. We have a real wide range.
Do you have a theme in terms of how you secure those? Is it property orientated that you tend to secure against? So from a financial background and commercial finance, that's the safest one, I guess, because you've got a tangible asset for recourse should anything happen. But is there a general theme, or are you looking pretty much across the board?
I think the bit that we look at, it's got to be the best solution for the client. What we always pride ourselves on is making sure that the suggestions we put forward and the finance that we arrange is the most suitable for the client at that specific time. So if you think about unsecured lending, there will more than always be the requirement of a personal guarantee from a director. If you look at secured lending, then it's likely going to be a property-based charge, whether that be on a first or a second charge basis. Different lenders will work differently, and there's certainly benefits for unsecured lending and unsecured products, but likewise there are for secured as well. It's all about how does that finance package work, and how does that help businesses ultimately with their needs, whether it to be grow, whether it to be refinance, whether it to be look at expansion. There's just so many different types of finance out there. And I think the key bit is, and the most important part of using a broker is, we're well placed to help people make those informed decisions and look at those different products.
Okay, and Jonathan, and what's been your journey to get here?
Yeah, so I started out at a secured business loan provider based in Leeds, worked there for about 3 years. The beauty of that was, dealing with clients directly, dealing with an introducer network directly, but within the lender, dealing with solicitors, dealing with valuers, dealing with the underwriters within that lender as well. So it gave me a really good insight as to how kind of secured business lending works. How it can work really well for clients, how sometimes it maybe can't work as well for clients. So I've built a really good kind of base of knowledge within there. COVID came, I was unfortunately put onto furlough. and that pushed me in a direction of going into finance brokering. So I always had an idea of how the market was and what the market was doing, working with the secured lender. And I really felt that, you know, for my kind of career progression and helping as many clients as possible, finance brokering, it gives you such a wide array of lenders that you can work with for client requirements. So I've been a finance broker now for just over 3 years. Made the move to commercial finance partnership in October last year. And again, it's just all about, for me, looking at commercial finance partnership and looking at the access to lenders that they have, looking at the FCA regulation, which is absolutely massive, of course, and looking at kind of the setup of the business as well. It was just such a good move to make, to you know, for me to ensure that the client base that I'm dealing with are really well served, and, you know, served in the future as well.
Wow, brilliant. And in terms of your ideal customers, as you said, it is a network, so there'll be an ideal customer, pretty much generic, could be anything across the entire partnership, I'm guessing. But where do you tend to focus? What's your best customers? Where do you do most of your business?
Yeah, so it's very much the SME market, and, you know, given that we are based in Yorkshire, we do ultimately see a lot of businesses from the region, and, you know, it's absolutely great to be helping out as many businesses as we can across Yorkshire with their requirements. It is the SME market, and it's us. For me, the key sort of client and the key sort of business that I'd want to be dealing with is a business that's got a bit of a vision as to how they want to grow and expand, but they're not quite sure how to get there. And, you know, there's so many great ways that they can get there, Action Coach being a prime example. But sometimes businesses do need to go that little bit further, and need to have kind of the right financing in place. They need to make sure that that finance isn't just working for them now, but is also going to work for them in the future as they hit the growth plans as well. So we work across all industries and sectors. The real key bit, as I say, it's looking at those businesses who've got a real clear vision of where they want to get to. And, you know, from our point of view, there's nothing more rewarding than being able to help those businesses and those business owners put those plans into place.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you mentioned about the coaching side, and what a lot of people, I think, forget from time to time is, you know, rapid growth, especially not just growth at all levels, requires financial support. When you're working with a coach, we push the boundaries. We get you growing a little bit quicker, a lot quicker than you perhaps as you might on your own. One of the first things that we're actually looking for then is to educate people on the fact that they are going to have to get some financial support. Their business is in a position where they can organically generate that. Fantastic. Then that's a brilliant business. Most of us, the reality, we desperately need access to continue the growth that we're actually achieving within our own businesses. So having a broker, having access, because it is a minefield from the other side of the fence, from a business owner perspective, I don't know where to start. And often, historically, you go to your high street bank and then computer says no, and then you're looking at different solutions that are actually a little bit more bespoke. And I think that's the real value of brokerage, of giving people who are less aware of what's available lots of different options, and we thank you for that. So it's always good. So in terms of the market then, what are you seeing the sort of shifts happening? There's been, obviously, from lockdown, more probably RLS and C bills and B bills. What are you now finding is the main requirements coming from the market as we're hopefully expanding into 2023?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key bit is all about growth, and it's all about how can businesses kind of best serve their expansion plans as well. The unsecured kind of lending market was really challenging through COVID. Obviously, there was great help with the government-backed schemes, but as they started to wind down, I mean, we've still got a recovery loan scheme that is kind of active at the moment, but it's on a much lower level than what we'll have seen previously. It's all about making sure that we're approaching the right lenders for the right clients. you look at the unsecured lending market, there is such a variation in rates, and there's such a variation in kind of the way that the products are, structured, presented, and offered as well. So that comes back to the kind of key point: using a broker is absolutely the right thing to do because it is such a challenging market. From kind of the property side and the secured lending side, seeing obviously the fallout from what was happening kind of back end of summer and early autumn, and the interest rate, the base rate interest rises, it made it such a challenging market, and the market was absolutely in turmoil for a good few weeks, and we're only starting to see it begin to recover now. We were seeing interest rate rises left, right, and centre. We're seeing lenders almost have to, temporarily pause lending as well because they didn't quite know how best to react as well. Not only for their interests, but also for the client's interests as well. So we're starting to see some shoots of green. We're certainly starting to see a reduction in rates across various products as well, which is a big benefit. But it's just for the past couple of years, I guess it's felt like one turmoil after another. And businesses have certainly felt the pinch there, and that's why it's been key to be using a finance broker.
And it's interesting. I mean, even this morning on the news, we're allegedly going to be the only G7 country that isn't going to grow this year. There is that sort of feeling that the more we're told that, the more that it might become reality. And if there was one bit of confidence inspiring advice that you would give people, what would that be at the moment, in terms of bucking the trend and proving it from the ground up that we can grow this year?
I think the key bit is you have to look at the past couple of years, what we've been through, not only as a country, but the entire world. If you've managed to get your business to survive through COVID, you've met one of the biggest challenges that you could possibly face. Nobody would have expected a global pandemic was going to essentially bring a halt to the country and bring a halt worldwide as well. For me, that was, for a lot of businesses would have been such an incredible challenge. And of course, unfortunately, we saw some businesses just ultimately couldn't survive as well. But, you look at what's happening now, you look at, the challenges that there's been within government in recent months, the challenges around interest rate rises, the challenges around, recession. And for me, you've just got to keep that positive mindset. As I say, the past 3 years have been incredibly challenging for everybody. But the fact that you're still here now as a business owner and you're still operating, it's a sign that you've done something right. And it's a sign that you might have had to make sacrifices, you might have had to make changes, but you're still going. I think the key bit, keep, as much as you can, keep away from the negativity, keep away from the challenging press. And if you've got a plan and you think it's going to work for your business, ultimately back yourself and find a way to succeed, because that's the more businesses that do that and the more businesses that succeed, that's how you start to turn around recession. It's how you start to turn around a downturn as well. And ultimately, businesses nationwide, if everybody can continue to grow and grow at a rate that is, making changes and positive changes to their business, that is a great benefit for everybody.
I'm a strong believer in the word associated with the financial markets of appetite, and certainly through lockdown, there were some more traditional lenders that didn't necessarily have the appetite, partly because they were thrust into having to use products that they just didn't really understand. They were government underwritten and so on and so forth. But very interesting that you say that a lot of the hard work, a lot of the battles, it's not a battle that's over yet, but if you've made it this far, or you've made it through tougher times, there is now an appetite for the lenders to support SME growth. And if you can go to a broker, go to someone like Jonathan and actually, have a discussion about what is there. There might not be the same appetite from some of the high street lenders, but that's okay, because there is a massive secondary tier of lenders that do have the appetite to support your growth. And I think that's very important. So in terms of commercial finance partnership and your own business within that, What makes you unique? Why should people come to you rather than anyone else that's in the market?
I think the key bit with commercial finance partnership and across all of the brokers within the business, we speak about it regularly. We've absolutely got the best interests of the client at heart. We'll fully understand what the challenges are of somebody's business, what challenges they've faced, what challenges they might face in the future, and ultimately, how do they want their business to develop and expand as well. We really take a whole of market approach. We truly do. I, as a broker, don't like to just go back to a client with one suggestion as to how to make this work. I like to really get into the the nitty gritty of the requirement and fully understand the business and have a couple of different options that we can put on the table and consider. What might be the right form of finance at this moment in time might not be that right form of finance in 6 months' time. So to get a really kind of clear vision as to this is one route you could go down, this is potentially another route you could go down, here are the pros, here are the cons, and laying all of that out on the table, I think to our client base is really important. And I think, for the business owners who ultimately have to make that decision, it's my job as a broker and it's our job as a brokerage to make sure that our clients are so well informed so they can make that decision that is ultimately going to be the right one for their business.
I think it is that the key in all of that is the options, isn't it? Of just having different options presented to you so that you can actually then make an informed decision of what is best for the growth of your business. So no, that's great advice, and hopefully that puts a few people's minds at rest in terms of where the market is, where the appetite to continue lending, and actually what to do about it, who to approach, rather than just going, all right, I need a loan, I need to go to the high street bank and just see what I can get in terms of support. So
it's a really interesting point you make about the high street banks as well, because you look at business owners and without using a broker, how would a business owner tackle the market, especially when it's so challenging? The high street banks are always your first point of call. It's every day you see your business bank account and you see who your high street bank is. We do find that sometimes, and even more so in recent months, we've come up with solutions with alternative lenders that have actually beaten people's high street banks. You look at a commercial mortgage, for example. So I've got an example at the minute, an owner-occupied commercial mortgage, where we approached the client's high street bank and the rate that they gave was bettered by an alternative lender. And, that a couple of years ago would have probably been unheard of, really. It may well have even been unheard of, at this point last year. But this is a crucial part about using a broker. We're constantly informed with lender updates, new products, what the high street banks are doing, what the high street banks maybe aren't doing as much. And that is the absolute crucial bit. And that extends into the unsecured lending market as well. If you're a business owner and you feel that you need a business loan to help either put out a fire within your business or help project your business to the next level, without using a broker, your first point of call is to probably look at a search engine, or is probably to look at kind of local recommendations, if you like, from other business owners. Things are changing all the time, and what you'll sometimes find if you go into a search engine, for example, you will be inundated and awash with unsecured lending options, but they may not be at the rate that your business actually warrants. It may be at a far higher rate, and it might not be as flexible as some of the options that we can find as well. So it's such a challenging market because it changes all the time. And, I think that's where, from our point of view as brokers, we've got to be well educated, and we've got to remain well educated within the market, because if we don't do that, we miss new products all the time as well. It's such a moving feast at the moment.
Yeah, I think the absolute realization, and for business owners out there, if you were unaware, brokers actually have access to the whole lending market, whether that's coming from banks, whether that's coming from alternate lenders. The interesting thing is you can get that through a broker, and some of those lenders are using brokers as footfall because they don't employ people anymore as account managers, as relationship managers, as whatever it may be that we used to have you know, a decade ago, you used to have that relationship with someone from the bank. That has stopped.
Absolutely.
They're going more online themselves, and actually the foot soldiers, if you like, who give the access to a wider market, give leverage to their products, are actually the broker network. So worth remembering that you're not, by using a broker, ostracizing the route to get a product from a bank or from an alternate lender. You're just widening your options. So really great sort of stuff. So fantastic. Well, that's sadly bringing us to the end of this interview. So really would like to thank Jonathan for being with us today and sharing your journey. So thank you, Jonathan. And also, if you're wanting to do this yourself, if you want to showcase your own business, if you want to elaborate on what's happening in your industry, just get in touch. We'll book you in. We'll record your very own interview, and you can then share that with the wider audience. So thank you again to Jonathan. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for everyone else for watching. And this has been yet another of our business showcase interviews. Have fun and enjoy it. See you soon.